The SGA election comes to a close, and Georgia State coaches adapt to online training. All that and more on Panther Report News. Hello and welcome to PRN. My name is Kara Nelson. We will continue coverage from inside our homes due to the coronavirus pandemic. We have team coverage from our reporters all across Georgia here to bring you the latest. Kaylin Thomas wins the 2020 SGA presidential election, making him the 91st president of the Student Government Association administration. This victory followed a week full of investigations and suspensions. PRN's Tyreek Wynn speaks to SGA President Kaylin Thomas about his win.
The Student Government Association elections for Georgia State University has just wrapped up. There were lots of things happening within this race. There were lots of violations, and there was also one presidential candidate who got disqualified in the runoff.
Presidential candidate Nigel Walton was disqualified from the runoff election for 2 violations. Terry Fye from the Election Commission walks us through one of the violations that got him disqualified.
We had to investigate, so we asked for a complete list of people's campaign members, people who were signed up to serve on their campaign. We found out later on through that complaint that Nigel did not give the full list of people that we declared. He actually gave an artificial list, and what was included in that complaint was actually a screenshot that actually contained the statement that Nigel made in that group chat, saying something to the effect of, "They asked for my campaign workers. I'm not giving the full list. I'm not going to give that to them." So that's actually a disqualifiable. That's actually falsifying campaign documents. That's actually disqualifiable.
Nigel Walton was also disqualified for offering a Plato cabinet seat to former candidate Carlos Porter in exchange for him joining his campaign. When the election concluded and the votes were counted, Nigel Walton came out with the most votes, but due to his qualification, Kaylin Thomas was declared the winner. We spoke to President-elect Kaylin Thomas to get his thoughts on the election.
Well, Tyreek, I think that a lot of students may feel slighted in a way, and I think that they have every right to feel that way. They voted one way, however, the election turned out a completely different way. So I do feel for those students who feel as though maybe their voice has not been heard throughout this entire process. However, I would let those students know that even though their candidate, the one that they wanted to win, was not able to become their president, I am more than ready, more than capable, more than excited to be their student body president.
Thomas says now that he has won the race for SGA president, his main focus right now is to make students his priority.
Putting students first, that still stands for free menstrual products available to all students on all campuses. I is still increasing on-campus jobs. R is reducing student homelessness. S is for sustainability, and T is for transportation.
Now Kaylin Thomas does become the brand new president-elect for the Student Government Association. We attempted to reach out to Nigel Walton for an interview, but he declined. And we also attempted to reach out to the Judicial Board as well, but we didn't hear anything back from them. Here at home, I'm Tyreek Wynn, PRN.
Thank you, Tyreek. The university illuminates the Georgia State Stadium blue to take part in the Lighted Blue campaign. The initiative that began in the United Kingdom recognizes frontline and essential workers during the coronavirus pandemic. Other landmarks in Atlanta also took part in this, from Centennial Olympic Park to the Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport. While students are facing new experiences with online learning, so are administrators when it comes to the security on Zoom calls. Last week, the FBI issued a warning about the hijacking of teleconferences in online classrooms. Andrea Jones, a spokesperson for Georgia State, says security is a top priority for the university. They are also working with the faculty to reduce the risk of disruption with online instruction. Georgia State researchers released a data set with over 140 million tweets to help show the growth and effects of COVID-19. The research follows discussion on social media to comprehend mobility patterns during natural disasters. It also goes in depth about the outbreak, travel, displacement, diagnosis, and treatment. Right now, only the data set is available, but researchers plan to do more. Last week, PRN reported that the University System of Georgia expects to see losses due to student refunds. Well, help from the coronavirus stimulus package awaits for Georgia State. The university expects to receive over $45 million through the coronavirus stimulus package, according to the Chronicle of Higher Education. Over $22 million is the minimum the university must allocate to emergency financial aid grants to students. And Georgia State is among the top 10 beneficiaries, according to the report. Georgia Governor Brian Kemp extends the shelter-in-place order until the end of April. The order was initially going to expire April 13th, but now continues to April 30th.
I don't really want to speculate on those things until we get to that peak, and then we can kind of see when we're coming off of this. I will tell you, we are seeing some good signs, which makes me just want to urge my fellow Georgians to get them to hunker down even more the rest of this week with all the things that we've been talking about, social distancing.
We now turn to PRN's Jet Parker for the latest updates on Georgia State sports. Jet, what do you have for us today?
Thanks, Kara. How's it going, everyone? My name is Jet Parker, and welcome to PRN Sports. Georgia State athletics may be canceled, but PRN's Christian Crittenden was still able to speak to Georgia State men's basketball head coach Rob Lanier to discuss the steps he's taking to prepare for next season. Take a look.
No, I mean, that's why I came here, because of the reputation. It's what attracted me. I had a really good job. I was at a great place, and my son was going to be a senior, and my daughter was going to be a junior. The easy thing to do would have been to stay in Knoxville and not interrupt their journey, because they were happy, and we had moved a lot because of the nature of the business. But when I heard about the opportunity and their interest in me, the interest was immediately mutual. The team twice now have had group workouts. We all have gotten online, and I just get on the treadmill. I don't try to do the stuff these other guys got them doing. But so we've done that twice, and just regular communication to check in with them and their families and to make sure everybody's doing okay. The coronavirus has, affected some of the people close to some of the people in our program, so we're not immune to it. We know it. Number one, discipline was something that we lacked as a team in some areas, in particular on defense. We fouled our opponents more than any other team in the league, and probably more than most teams in the country. We found ourselves out of position, playing with our hands instead of our feet, and did a poor job of putting teams in the 1-and-1 and the bonus earlier in games and earlier in the second half than we ever got into the bonus. So we put ourselves at a disadvantage, and as a team that played primarily man-to-man, that was used to playing primarily zone, that was part of the transition for our team, is that discipline. From year one to year two, I think there'll be a natural progression in terms of understanding our system and growth and a development in leadership. We were missing the kind of leadership that is generally characteristic of your better teams. And I think we have some guys in our program that have leadership potential and some leadership qualities that need to grow in that area. And Kane stands out as a guy who's got some leadership ability, but he hadn't really had that role yet in college. He was a very good player on very good teams, but the burden of responsibility fell to some other guys, and he had the benefit of playing in a complementary role to those guys. A big role, but a complementary role nonetheless. I think as a coach, what you want to do, particularly when you're building a program, is that you aspire to reach a level of excellence. And that's a constant process. And if you can achieve a level of excellence, it will manifest itself in a way where year to year, those goals will be a byproduct of that excellence you achieve. So in a given year, you'll win a championship and you'll make a run in the NCAA tournament. There may be years where it doesn't happen, but the standard for the program will remain high.
In Georgia State football news, the Panthers have bolstered their defense with the signing of graduate transfer Chris Moore out of the University of Virginia. Moore played 32 games as a Cavalier and racked up 94 tackles over his 4 years. As a safety, he looks to bring a key aspect to the Panthers' 2020 campaign, as in 2019 the Panthers ranked among the lowest in college football in defensive effectiveness. The WNBA's Atlanta Dream have made a ton of changes over the past year, from a new logo to a new stadium to a ton of new signings, and they look to continue this success into the 2020 WNBA draft. Reporter Crystal White has the details.
The WNBA draft will take place this Friday at 7 p.m. on ESPN. The draft will be held virtually, without players, fans, or media. Local team, the Atlanta Dream, has the 4th overall pick. According to SB Nation, the Dream most likely would choose Kennedy Carter from Texas A&M. If so, Carter will join a reloaded Dream team. The team has made impressive moves this offseason, trading for Courtney Williams, Kalani Brown, Gloria Johnson, and more. With a lot of new faces, the Dream should improve their record from last season. Last season, the team finished 8-26. Catch the WNBA draft this Friday at 7 p.m. on ESPN. Crystal White, PRN.
That's all we've got for you this week on PRN Sports. Be sure to follow us at GSUPRN and stay up to date on our website, gsuprn.com. Now, back to you, Kara.
Georgia State organizations are collaborating to continue participation. President of the Latin American Student Association, Daniel Almager Gasper, discusses how they came up with the event.
So, Isaac, the week before, last week, they were asking us if we have any ideas for any events that we had for their Spring Fest week, and this was one of the events that we as LASA came up with to have during. So yesterday was our day, and then the day before was another organization's.
LASA and other student organizations are actively collaborating to give students assurance during this time. Due to COVID-19, the primary elections and presidential campaigning have come to a near halt. Voter turnout is expected to be affected greatly. PRN's Ashton Gates has more on the story.
That means that a lot of people who would normally vote in low turnout elections won't come out.
Just as primary elections were heating up, they were delayed across the nation as a result of COVID-19, and voter turnout is likely to be low due to fears of catching the virus. One Georgia State student says she'd rather play it safe and not go to the polls.
I'm not even allowed to hang out with my friends, let alone be around big groups of people that I don't know. I don't know if they're taking the necessary precautions. So I feel like not even just me, but probably a lot of people wouldn't want to go.
Over the years, college students and young adults have become increasingly vocal about their political stances and the power of their vote. Although we are experiencing a pandemic, Georgia State student Andrew Buckmeyer says this would never prevent him from placing his ballot.
I don't think that it would have stopped me. It probably would have made it a little bit more difficult, but I'm a pretty strong person, so those types of difficulties kind of make me want to keep going.
Wisconsin is one of the most recent states to hold an election despite coronavirus fears, and extreme caution was used when collecting ballots. Georgia plans to have its primary election on June 9th, but no statement has been made on how voters coming in will be protected. Ashton Gates, PRN.
PRN sends well wishes to everyone and a special thanks to our healthcare workers all around the world for the work that they're doing. Also, be sure to not only protect yourself, but those around you as well. Well, that's our show. Be sure to stay connected to GSU PRN throughout the week. You can do this by following us on all social media platforms at GSU PRN or by visiting our website at gsuprn.com. My name is Kara Nelson. Stay safe, Georgia State, and we'll see you next week.